Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. You know, you should go into this weekend not fearing anything. Whatever you're going to do, we have the weekend Q101 at the end of the show. There's so much.
Wow, that's so, introspective and, that's, real life advice. Don't fear anything.
Yeah, I'm like an Instagram model in a bikini on a beach somewhere saying that, go with no fear.
Yeah, you're just like that.
I'm just like that. And I'm going to get in mankini shape for that Queens of the Stone Age show.
I forgot about that. I forgot Kenzie's a wizard and you're wearing a mankini to the Queens of the Stone Age show.
Yep.
It's what everyone wants.
Yeah, if I know Josh Homme the way I think I do, he's going to love it.
Yeah, they said dress appropriately, dress wild, and Kenzie said that's for interpretation. I went with mankini, but I got to get in a beach body shape. Mm-hmm. My point is,
I'm sure you'll stay really focused.
What's your point, Brian?
That there's so much stuff outside. For example, I'm going to Dave Matthews Band on Saturday, but I'm already fearing the price of booze at the event because I don't want to add on hundreds of dollars in drinking, but I do want to drink. So I probably will get that, just like Frank the Tank, it hits your lips, and I can't stop, and I got to drink. Because I'm outside, Dave Matthews Band music. It's outside music. It'll be 80 degrees in Northern Ireland. Yeah, I'm going to go for it.
And you can't just limit yourself?
No. What a stupid thing to say.
Sorry.
What a stupid case. Why would you say that?
Kenzie, please. What an idiot.
What is wrong with you?
God.
Do you ever think about anything?
God.
My God.
And that's the point of today's fact, which involves debt. Just for this weekend, don't worry about your debt. Just don't worry about it. I know it's there. It's always every minute, every day. Sometimes you can't escape it. But escape it this weekend and get that drink and no limits.
Is this a fact or a PSA?
Well, it's
Are you just saying that so you can do whatever you want this week?
Yes.
All right, Megan.
Moving on. Next segment.
So all that being said, today's fact that makes your brain go is who has the most debt and what that number is of the generations.
Of us three?
No, not of us
It's
three.
going to be that.
Because mine's going to be worse after Monday because I'm drinking what I want. No limits. No limits at Dave Matthews Band, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I won't tell you. You don't have to guess the generation yet, but I'll do, obviously, Gen X, Boomers, Millennials, and Gen Z. Gen Z. Who's got the most debt? But just give me the number of the highest debt you think it is, Kenzie.
Okay, well,
So
are we
don't-
doing the person with the most debt in the whole world or an average? What?
So what I'll tell you is when we come back, I'll tell you what generation has the most debt and what that number is.
A generational average, if you will.
Yeah, so I just want you to
So
guess.
this is a per person, not an accumulated
Right.
per person.
Yeah, so what one person in whatever generation the average debt is, you just guess the number of the debt. I'll tell you when we come back with the fact which generation has it
Should
and
I
what the
guess
number
the
is.
highest generation, I think, too?
If you
Or
want
no?
to if you want to guess the generation too, go for it. We can over
I think
participate.
it's cases. I think it's going to be Gen Z.
Okay.
And that's only because, college has gotten more expensive. Houses have got, things are more expensive.
Sure.
So I feel like,
Sure.
boomers bought houses for $60, so I
Yep.
think that's fair. So
They sold them for
I think
$8 trillion.
It's Gen Z, and I think it's going to be $400,000.
$400,000.
I do. Think of college. Think about how much people spend on weddings now. Think
Mm-hmm.
of cars, all that. I think it's $400,000.
Wow. Gen Zers, $400,000.
I know a
Okay.
couple people with over $100,000, and they just got a degree, to become a doctor, medical degrees and things like that. Because they're there for 6 years. So it's over $100,000.
Yeah. Now, Case, what do you think it is?
So I disagree with Kenzie's logic. I think people in my generation, and I'm 26, I think we've been priced out of everything. So we're just lacking experience more than we are accumulating debt. I think based on the way these people have lived their lives, talked about their lives, and woven their sob stories into the fabric of society, I think it's millennials, and I think they're all, based on the way they talk, about $70 trillion in debt each. Because all I hear is how hard it is to be a millennial.
I don't think you had to be super mean about it.
So make sure you get all those
said-
commas in there. I see you writing something down. 70 trillion.
I started to write zeros. And I don't know what's in a trillion, so I just wrote 70 trillion. I said, screw it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it just one more set of zeros? A million is 3 sets of zeros. A billion, I think, is 4. So is it 5 sets of zeros?
Now I just got a headache. I really thought I could do it. I just wrote trillion.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll just
It'll
go
work.
there. We'll do that. When we come back after Incubus, we'll tell you which generation has the highest debt load on average and what that number is. We'll have fun. We'll all compare our debt. It's Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We're talking about debt and the fact that makes your brain go. But there's some good news. In just about 10 minutes, I'll tell you how you can get a super easy $130. Super easy. Everybody listening. I think 99.7% of you will be able to get this $130.
Oh, my
very
God.
Easy. I know.
I would love that.
I know. But first, look at the fact where I talked about generational debt. Which generation has the... And first off, I started off by saying...
Very fun in the morning.
Don't worry about your debt this weekend. Over drink at Dave Matthews Band like I'm going to do, even though it's going to be like $17 for a seltzer there. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to enjoy the night, and I'll worry about the debt on Monday.
Do you want 45 seconds to do your alcohol at concerts thing? Because you're rearing to go. It's like you've loaded a shotgun and you're just afraid to shoot it. Just do 45 seconds on it, because you can't stop talking about it off the air.
I can't stop talking about it, and I understand that all of you have to pay to see these experiences. That's why Q101, and I'm saying this not flexing.
Don't waste your 45 seconds. Get to it.
I'm going to. I know.
It is a little
you're right.
preamble.
Okay.
Good Lord.
All right.
All right, and clock starts now.
I'm sick and tired of the alcohol prices at concerts because I like to drink and get my buzz on at a concert. I don't like to just have one. I like to have a few. I don't drink that much during the week. I have a child. I have daycare to take care of. I have a lot of tests to do.
You have daycare. You drop her off at daycare.
That's right. But I can't be drunk when I go there.
It's a bad look.
Daycare to take care of.
How many times do you walk into daycare and that parent's got that alcohol breath? That's not going to be me. That's not going to be me. But I'm really sick and tired of the people that pay. And that's you paying so much when you don't win stuff on Q101. We try to give you, and we do give you the most free experiences of anybody in town without question. But when you go there and then you just want to drink and it's $17. Why can't I have a $5
Well, because
beer?
to quote Brian, he said, "What's the point of drinking if you can't get drunk?" And that's a direct quote. So what Brian's trying to say is it's going to take him an egregious amount of White Claws to get wasted, and it's going to cost him about $500 to do so.
I'm 235, 6'4" and a quarter. I'm not getting that's a flex. I'm not getting buzzed on 3 drinks. I need a few more. But I'm not an alcoholic. I just want to get my buzz on at a show. And I can go months without drinking. Like I said,
we love our friends that go brewing, and they were like my lifesaver when I was pregnant. It's a non-alcoholic beer, and Brian loves the taste of them.
I
But
do.
every time he does look at me and go, but like if you're not gonna get drunk, like he's so confused by the non-alcoholic concept.
Well, you're right. Their stuff is the most delicious non-alcoholic stuff on earth. But then, Kenzie, I said, you know, it'd be great if we just put some alcohol in this. Be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just pleading with all of our friends and partners and with and we love you. We love you. How about some just deals on drinks? How about just this summer?
How about only a 50% markup instead of
Yeah.
3,000? That would just be nice.
I just, because we give tickets to people and they go free, but then you got to get a babysitter, you got to park, and then you got to go in there and go, okay, I need a beer.
I think I'm just talking about you. I think you get tickets for free, and you have to get a babysitter, and you have to park. These are very specific experiences.
We give away a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff today.
We hooked a lot of people up for Dave Matthews Band. They're going to be there this weekend because of us.
We got Weird Al tickets in a half hour for a
Yeah.
sold-out show. I just want people to be able to enjoy a refreshment for a nice price. A nice price. Please, I'm pleading. I'm begging. I'm begging with people that make these decisions. Please. Speaking for the people, not for me. But I am going to drink a lot this
Yeah,
weekend.
but yeah.
Now, speaking of debt, I've said that I think Brian's going to spend $1,000 on alcohol at Oasis in
At
August. Because he's got like 40 friends that he's going with. I didn't know Brian had that many friends. I think they're all Megan's friends.
They are
They're
Megan's
Megan's
friends.
friends.
Yeah, they're Megan's friends.
They are.
But he's going to spend $1,000 on alcohol at Soldier Field. I can feel it in my bones, and that will leave you in debt.
And here's what happens.
Imagine him complaining for the entire Oasis concert. You're not going to hear a single song.
We're going to get to this fact on the debt by generations, but I know we're way past the 45 seconds.
No, I know we are too.
But I'm not flexing here again. But you know me. You've both seen me out. When I start drinking, I get generous. And I start buying drinks for other people. And that's going to lead to the $1,000 bill at Oasis.
I didn't think you single-handedly were drinking $1,000 worth of beer.
I understand.
It's the people
I
you're...
thought that's what you meant.
I'd like to do that. All right, let's get to it. So who's got the most debt? Let's keep going. And remember that $130. You can get a free
Party.
$130. We'll tell you how to get it super easy in a couple seconds. But who's got the most debt? The new study came out between Gen Zers, millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers, and what that number is. Now, Kenzie guessed Gen Zers for $400,000 because they have college that's gotten outrageously. People listening that do colleges. So I do a rant on that. Lower your prices. Education's important.
Let's focus on that before drinks.
I'm
no,
fair.
I just feel like, okay, everything's like up super high. Like house prices are insane and stuff right now. And they've had the least amount of time to pay it off. So, right? Because you're the youngest. So, like, your college debt's probably new. Your home probably new. Car. Like, so I was looking at it as like, you've made all the adult purchases and, are probably the least into paying it down.
Sure.
Most likely, right?
Sure. Everything is more expensive than it's ever been in anybody's lifetime, alive or dead. And Case guessed with a shot across the bow to millennials that $70 trillion in debt.
I think every millennial is $70 trillion in debt.
On average. I couldn't even get the zeros done. Now, I did make a mistake in this fact that I'll start with, that this was, in this new study, was non-mortgage debt. Okay? So that makes a big difference.
Oh, so the mortgage doesn't count.
The mortgages don't count, which would take Kenzie's to like that $400,000, which is probably about right.
Right, okay.
Who's got the most? It's my people. It's not Gen Zers. It's not millennials. It's the Gen Xers out there hold the most debt with an average of $26,207. So you got to calculate. Some people have $1 million in debt. Some people have zero. $26,207. That's after a 22.6% drop from the year before, where it was $33,800. So Gen X debt has dropped significantly, but it's still the highest.
And mortgage isn't included, so that makes sense.
Mortgage is not included. Millennials are next at $70 trillion. Somehow they came in second with that. They're down also. So people paid off a lot of debt last year, believe it or not. It's down from the year before, from $30,000 to $24,810.
I think people are so stressed out about the prices of things that they are trying to focus on like getting their debt down and stuff.
I think some people have also made good decisions, like with Bitcoin and the stock market. They're able to pay some stuff down, or side hustles. I don't know.
Gotta love side hustles.
Gotta love it. Gen Zers hold the least overall. That's your people, Case.
That's because we're not living. We're not having any
Like,
life
they're
experiences.
not buying anything.
I'm like, oh, awesome, a cardboard box to live in. Can't wait. What a deal.
I mean, you're looking right at Case, and he's like, he doesn't. And this is fine, by the way, because you're only, what are you, 26?
Yeah, this is not going to be fine, whatever Kenzie's about to say.
But like, right, you don't own a car, and then you don't own a place, and then
Take
you
the
don't
bus.
so you have no. But you live in downtown. When I lived in downtown, I didn't have a car either. This isn't bad. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, your debt would be down. I don't know why you're laughing so hard.
Because I said he takes the bus.
You go, you don't own any land, you don't have a car.
But that's fine.
You
Because you live downtown. I didn't have a car when I lived downtown.
You
Why?
basically don't exist.
I know.
Every negative thing is what Brian said. I haven't said anything negative yet.
So, Gen Z, good luck.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
You can't defeat her. She's too powerful.
Klash with Kenzie.
Let the battle begin.
Q101.
Well, what a week it has been. Weird Al tickets sold out. Ravinia with Q101 this Sunday. These are pavilion seats. Almost broke the phone line several times this week. You want these, and we have them. So, Tyler competing for the tickets against Kenzie. Tyler, ahoy, tell us something about yourself.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going great.
So I'm a lifelong Weird Al fan. UHF is probably my favorite movie of all time. Just been always been a bucket list concert for me. And my wife is also a huge fan, and we actually are expecting our first child in about a week.
Whoa.
So it can maybe be baby's first concert and her last for a little bit.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So
Are you going to name the baby Al?
It's a girl, so no, but
it can be Alicia.
Alina.
Alina, yeah. So
Yeah.
Name it Yankovic.
So if you win these tickets, she's due in a week. You're going to take her to the show on Sunday.
yes.
It's bold. Me and Megan
Yeah.
went to see Marcus Mumford 2 weeks before her delivery, Chicago Theater, and I said, "So you're going to be that You're going to be that woman that has the baby in the bathroom at Walmart, aren't you?
Oh my God.
And she's
Why at Walmart? Why
Yeah.
not at the concert?
Why couldn't it have been at the Chicago Theater? Wouldn't that have made more sense?
because we probably would have zipped out to Walmart to get some cheaper drinks somewhere beforehand.
typically. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
no, she needed cheaper liquor. Okay.
She wasn't drinking.
We should be all right. If you guys recall, Weird Al's a surgeon.
Oh,
There
Facts.
you go.
Look at this guy. He knows everything. All right, here we go. First 1 to 5 wins. Listen carefully. If Kenzie gets one wrong, you can steal a point. She can do the same to you. Call heads or tails, Tyler.
Let's go heads.
It is heads. Tyler's up first. Tyler, here we go. Good luck.
Thank you.
How many different ways can you spell the word there?
3.
3 is right. Some people might have thought there was like a fourth one out there they didn't know about. But,
or maybe a second one and they forgot one.
yeah, it's true. Kenzie, back to you. The city of Muskogee is located in which state?
Why are you laughing?
Because you got a pretty good, I'd say an exponentially tougher second question than he got for a first question.
I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I'm thinking of Oklahoma, but
It is Oklahoma.
is it?
Am I
I thought
saying
that
it
was Muskogee, though. Is
maybe,
it Muskogee?
Well, maybe it's Muskogee. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it is. Either way, you got it. Good job.
I don't know no Muskegees. I thought it was Muskogees.
Muskoge. Muskogee.
Don't worry about it. 1-1, it's back to Tyler.
Tyler, Brigham Young University is located in what state?
Salt Lake City.
The state?
Utah.
Yeah, there you go. We'll give him the state. There you go. So, Kenzie, what is the distance between 2 peaks of a wave called? The distance between 2 peaks of a wave called.
I thought it was going to be a two. Is that the wavelength?
It is the wavelength.
I thought it was going to be a twin. I was like, let me get to that. I thought it was going to be a Twin Peaks question. I'm like, I don't know a lot about that place.
Back to Tyler.
Back to Tyler, it's tied up at 2.
Tyler, according to Panic at the Disco, they write sins and not what?
Tragedies.
Tragedies is right. Tyler's wrong.
Ew.
How about that? Back to Kenzie. Who sang about their achy breaky heart in 1992?
Oh, Miley's dad. Billy Ray. Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy
I
Ray
always-
Cyrus.
Oh, I sometimes accidentally call him Billy Bob Thornton. So I had to be careful.
Often
I
confused.
get like, I run off with it sometimes.
Billy Ray Cyrus now with Elizabeth Hurley.
Really?
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. No disrespect to Billy Ray Cyrus, but Elizabeth Hurley.
He's got the money, honey.
Oh God.
Wow.
But she's got her own money though.
I'd date him to be near his daughter. I love her.
Billy Ray, are you listening?
I love Miley.
Okay, 3-3. You guys are running the board here.
Back to Tyler.
Tyler, what does a cartographer do?
Cartographer.
A cartographer.
Take pictures of cars.
Take pictures of cars is not right. Kenzie, do you know?
It's somebody who can like read and they study maps.
Can I accept that case?
I don't feel like read and study is what we were looking for.
Yeah, they make maps. A cartographer makes
Well,
maps.
they can read them though too. Like that's cartography, being able to read maps.
I don't.
So the dictionary definition is a person who draws or produces maps.
I guess we can't give it to you, Kenzie. I'm sorry. 3-3 stays at 3-3.
Yes, and Indiana cartographers will soon be looking for work as Indiana's discontinuing all their state maps and national parks. 3-3, it's back to Kenzie.
Don't worry, you won't get eaten by a bear in the park when you can't look at the map where the bears are all located. It's back to Kenzie on this
And
one.
it's back to Kenzie.
Kenzie, the Battle of Okinawa was the last major battle of what war?
Oh, well, that doesn't sound American. So,
Good call. I like your research here. It's sounding it out. Good. Which war? Give me a war.
I don't know. One of the world wars.
Give me one of those.
One. Damn it.
I was really hoping you were going to say 3. Because that's what we're in right now, you know. So, Tyler, you can go ahead with this one.
World War II.
2. Well, yeah, it sounds about right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, 50-50 shot, Kenzie. And now this is for the win with Tyler?
This is for the win. It's back to Tyler. He's leading 4-3, and it's back to him.
This is it now. No pressure, Tyler. You're the lifelong fan. Wife's pregnant. Weird Al sold out. Q101 this Sunday. When
Let's
did
get
the
it.
When did the War of 1812 actually begin?
1811.
No. Damn it. That's not right. Kenzie, the War of 1812, when did it actually begin?
I'd be honest, I wasn't listening to the question because I thought he was going to get it right.
When did the War of 1812 actually begin?
1812?
It is 1812. It was a trick question. Oh, boy. Now we're tied up at 4, right?
Back to Kenzie. She can put Tyler away right here.
Oh, Kenzie, here we go.
Okay, well, let me pay attention again. I thought he was going to win. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm locked back in.
You want to throw the game
There
now?
we
You just-
go. He'll get that right. And okay, sorry. Go ahead.
It's a riddle. What word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
Short.
Short is right.
Very funny.
You said it in a non-funny way at all. Very funny.
Very funny.
Very funny. Very cute. So Kenzie wins on the week. Tyler, you did a great job.
Well,
Thank
I feel
you.
bad. I want him to go.
Well, it's your call.
Ryan, you've been
Yeah.
no, it isn't my call. You've been C blocking me all week.
You know what?
I'm gonna call it T blocking because I keep trying to give people tickets and you say no.
By the way, there's an online discussion of this, of who gives the tickets in these situations when they just feel emotion. People say, I've been blocking them. I think Kenzie's been fueling that through her burner accounts to fuel that discourse.
I wrote it was your fault with my actual account.
She actually did. Well, Kenzie, what do you want to
You're
do?
a T block, ticket block. I want to give him tickets. Can I please?
Now it's on me.
Kenzie.
Sure, you're going, buddy. You got a kid on the way.
You gotta get out.
Hit our hearts very nicely. You're a Weird Al fan for life. You are going to see Weird Al on Sunday.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you very much. Tell your wife we're wishing her a great birth and safe and healthy.
Great birth. Have a blast.
All right. Listen, there we go. We've got tremendous prizes for you next week. We'll get to that in Clash with Kenzie. But Weird Al this Sunday sold out with Q101 and Brian and Kenzie. It's been a real fun week giving away these tickets all week long. We have more coming, though. Queens of the Stone Age tickets for that show at the Chicago Theater just about 15 minutes away. It's Brian and Kenzie, Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Time for Case's movie review in honor of the F1 movie being released this weekend in theaters. Looks like something you should absolutely see in the theater with Brad Pitt. So Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise racing movie. And at the end, NASCAR street race tickets. So just at the end of the review, stay tight here. We'll get you tickets to next weekend. Both days, winner gets 2 weekend grounds passes for the NASCAR street race sponsored by Bet365. And that is all on the way after Case's movie review.
For Christ's sake, tomorrow's the 4th of July, and we will be open for business.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what?
Utah. Give me 2.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
Wax on, right hand. Wax off, left hand.
Now fry like bacon, you little freshman piggies! Fry! Fry!
Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
Well, Tiffany and Cherville said they had a Days of Thunder party last night for everybody, and they'd all seen the movie before. But they knew you were doing it this week, Case. And Maryville showed up at Tiffany's house. I don't know how many she means, like 7, 8 people maybe. Maybe it was more. And they watched it in the backyard. They projected it on the back of the house.
That's living right there.
They have one of those projector things you can buy on Amazon.
Tiffany and Cherville, good on you. That's good stuff.
They were outside having a couple drinks on a hot summer night watching Days of Thunder. Is there a better day or night out there? So just to get ready for your review today, so you better not disappoint.
I don't plan on it.
Well, we don't know. We never know if you like it or not. The eyes of a 26-year-old of a 35-year-old movie. 35 years today.
35 years ago today came out.
35 years for Days of Thunder? God.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. If you would have told me that movie came out 17 years ago, I'd have believed you. Wow. Released June 27th, 1990. An alleged $60 million budget. I guess you're going to address that in the review.
What does that mean?
I don't know. We'll find out.
The budget was originally $30 million. They spent at least 60, possibly up to $75 million on it.
The box office was $157.9 million. Holds a rating of 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's rotten.
Rotten Tomatoes. They don't even know.
On 67
They mess up
reviews,
everything.
the average rating was 5 out of 10. Quentin Tarantino said the film was his favorite big-budget racing movie, and there are a lot of racing movies. As of November 2024, A sequel is in development.
Yeah, there is.
Well, I guess we'll find out more if Tom Cruise is involved in that.
Tom Cruise is involved in the Days of Thunder sequel. They're not going to make Days of Thunder 2 without Tom Cruise.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought F1 was like a sequel.
No, unrelated.
What's F1?
Its own thing.
I'll tell you what.
Why are we doing this movie? I thought I've been under the impression the entire time it was a sequel.
Because they're both racing movies.
Is Tom Cruise in that one?
No, Brad Pitt.
Then why did Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise go to the carpet together?
I think Tom Cruise was there to see the movie with Brad Pitt on the red carpet.
Wow. Boy, did I think that was a sequel. That's really upsetting. I was excited to see the sequel. This is devastating news.
Well, Kenzie, if you want to leave the studio and just come back in 15 minutes, you can.
I'm really upset.
Well, here we go. Days of Thunder, not F1. Days of Thunder. Here's what the trailer sounded like 35 years ago when it was promoting the movie.
Paramount Pictures presents the motion picture with the power.
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
The emotion.
Tell me what you love so much about racing.
The passion.
To know that I can control something that's out of control.
The fire.
We can fix it right here.
The speed.
The car's perfect, Harry.
The sensation of cinema's biggest thrill. Tom Cruise, Days of Thunder, rated PG-13. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
A little muddy, a little hard to make everything out.
Good Lord.
I'm sorry the
static.
National Film Archives don't have a nice Days of Thunder trailer preserved.
Yeah, also,
A lot of static there, huh?
also when he yells, we can fix it. That's his read from Mission Impossible. They're all dead. They're all dead. All right, Case, what'd you think of Days of Thunder? Give it to us.
What did you say the Rotten Tomatoes rating was?
37%.
Oh, my God. These people don't know what they're talking about. Days of Thunder kicks ass.
Okay.
I loved this movie. I love this movie in the way that Brian loves the Fast and the Furious franchise, where I watched the first one last year for the 25th anniversary. And when I watched the Fast and the Furious, all I could think was, I noticed every plot hole. I noticed every stupid line of dialogue. I had nitpicks with the cinematography of it. And I'm not saying that Days of Thunder is a perfect movie. I might not even be saying that Days of Thunder is a good movie. But I was on a nonstop thrill ride for the hour and 50 minutes that this movie existed. I adored this. This is great. Why don't people like Days of Thunder more?
Well, our people do. You know, they do just because it has a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think there's one of our listeners that doesn't think Days of Thunder is a good movie.
God, this movie's excellent. All I heard all week from people was, oh, you're watching Days of Thunder? Oh, it's Top Gun with cars. This movie's better than Top Gun.
Calm down.
I like this movie so much more than Top Gun.
I like everything Tom Cruise is in, though. I'm immediately drawn in. And it's not like, oh, I'm so attracted to him. I think he's great. I just love him.
Kenzie.
Sounds like you're attracted to him.
No, but it's not like, like there's certain actors where I'm like, oh, I'll watch him in a movie. And it's not that I just think he's so talented. Like, I love every role he's in.
I agree. I like every Tom Cruise movie pretty much.
I hadn't seen a Tom Cruise movie until April when I watched Top Gun for the first time in remembrance of Val Kilmer, who passed away. And Kenzie, I got to agree with you. This Tom Cruise guy knows what he's doing.
He's so good.
I am a huge fan. And also, he looks so freaking good in this movie. This is peak Tom Cruise hair. His teeth look great. He looks great. He's in the mellow yellow car at the end of the movie. It's the peak of mellow yellow. The whole thing, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I could put myself in this universe. I think that was my big issue with Top Gun was, I'm not the most militaristic of fellow.
Oh, God.
I've never considered joining any branch of the military in my entire life.
And the military's happy about that.
Hey, they seem to be doing okay. All right? They don't need me.
I feel like you would make us lose if you joined. Like, not everybody is a win.
Make us lose.
I don't want you anywhere near
World War II would have had a different ending if you were involved.
Look, I'm sure they're great, but it's never been my thing. It's never been my thing. But I watched this movie with characters with names like Cole Trickle, Harry Hogg, Rowdy Burns, Buck Brethren, late 80s NASCAR drivers, cameos by Rusty Wallace, among others. I go, that could be me. I could be in this movie. I could have been Cole Trickle. This movie's awesome. The whole thing is great. The aesthetic of this movie, all the logos, all the old race cars that are in this movie. And by the way, they actually had prop cars racing in the actual 1990 Daytona 500 to get footage for this movie. They had two cars that were not officially timed vehicles. They weren't in the actual race, but they were on the track during the 1990 Daytona 500 for 40 laps to pick up additional footage for this movie. Everything about this is great. It's such a good movie.
708 checked in. Joe said, Case is on a roll. Nothing was cooler when this movie came out than getting a cold trickle Days of Thunder Hardee's cup filled with ice cold mellow yellow.
Oh my God, that sounds, and to have a cigarette with that probably. Oh my God.
See, Case wasn't alive.
Oh my God, Case, for Halloween, you should just wear like the jumpsuit with the mellow yellow.
I would love that. Can somebody give me a mellow yellow jumpsuit?
Let's
Oh
see
my
how much they
God.
are.
Very slimming. It's black. So it'll be good for you.
I think what's great about this movie is I follow NASCAR just enough to understand the basics of a NASCAR race, right? And while, especially in the final Daytona 500, there were a few missing caution flags, and there's a lot more ramming in this movie than there typically would be in NASCAR. They also play off of some key characteristics in the NASCAR universe. You know, tires are the things that win the race. It's great in Darlington when Cruz wins his first race, and he has to beat the pace car out of the pits in order to not fall a lap behind, and then he uses the outside to win the race. It's all just real enough and just true enough to form that I found myself completely encapsulated in this universe, and that's not even to mention the romancing angle that we'll talk about in just a second.
Yeah. You have a couple clips in the movie that were your favorite. Was the hit the pace car, that clip?
This is Tom Cruise. So, for those that haven't seen the movie, this is what I wrote down as my synopsis. Brian said earlier I have more notes on this movie than any other movie I've watched, which is true. Let me read my notes verbatim here. For anybody that hasn't seen Days of Thunder, here's what the movie's about. Brian, you tell me if I'm missing anything. This movie is about an amateur race car driver who convinces a disgraced crew chief to come out of retirement to teach him to drive. And after suffering a traumatic brain injury at Daytona, he first harasses, then falls in love with a 23-year-old neurosurgeon from Australia who is practicing medicine in the Charlotte area. He gets the yips as a driver and is not able to drive correctly until his rival asks him to drive his own car in the Daytona 500.
Nailed it.
What a movie. This is awesome. And this is during his first race when Cruz is on the gas too hard. He's not taking care of his tires. He's crashed into everything. And this is what happens when he goes into the pits.
All right. Well, we're still under a caution. I want you to go back out on that track and hit the pace car. Hit the pace car? Hit the pace car. What for? Because you hit every other goddamn thing out there. I want you to be perfect. Go on, go.
Duvall is unbelievable in this movie.
Oh, Duvall is the best actor in the movie. I think Cruz does great work, but this is a Duvall movie.
Well, Michael Rooker, who I'm not trying to bring him back to The Walking Dead, but Merle in The Walking Dead, he was incredible in this movie. Michael Rooker as the villain driver. He was unbelievable.
We got this text from Kyle, and it says, my favorite quote from Days of Thunder is, let me out of the car, Cole.
Good dialect on that, Kenzie.
There you go.
By the way, you can get, I found a website called Crazy Racewares. You can get a mellow yellow racing suit just like in the movie for $75.60, $25 delivery.
You have to buy it.
I think I'm going to just start wearing that to work and on dates and everything.
No, you should start wearing it on first dates.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the move. The other great line in this movie is after more upheaval with Tom Cruise driving, the race team owner comes in. And we've got this audio censored, but I think we have to discuss what he says. Can you play this other clip that's in the folder, Brian?
Sure.
I had sponsors in the stands, and I'm hugging and holding hands and kissing them in the ear and praying for a good showing. And what do? We end up looking like a monkey f***ing a football out there.
Who, by the way, Case, you've now seen enough movies where I can reference this. You've seen Independence Day.
I have.
That's Randy Quaid, who at the end of Independence Day was like, I'm back. He's the dad of the kids, and then he kills himself. Sorry for the.
Oh my God.
Sorry for the spoiler of Independence Day there, but that's who Randy Quaid was in there.
I just want to take 30 seconds and try to figure out what he meant by that. Tom Cruise makes a mess of himself on the track. The whole team's embarrassed. You guys look like a monkey effing a football. Play the audio again. I want to hear it one more time.
All right.
I had sponsors in the stands, and I'm hugging and holding hands and kissing them in the ear and praying for a good showing. And what do? We end up looking like a monkey f***ing a football out there.
What does that mean?
Well, it's racing lingo.
Is it?
You think you can jump in this racing world, but you
Tell you
can't.
something, not graceful. I'll tell you that it is, Case. Not graceful.
I'll tell you what, we're up against it. We're going to come back and get your rating of Days of Thunder, which it sounds like it's going to be on the higher end. And any other notes you had on the movie? There was some behind-the-scenes stuff you told me that I had no idea that involved cocaine.
This is a crazy, crazy production. If you thought Blues Brothers was a love letter to cocaine last week, Days of Thunder on that level.
A lot of cocaine. We'll talk about what that was. And those NASCAR street race tickets coming up, too. Just about 6 minutes away. Stay here.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.
Continuing Case's movie review of Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise. And at the end of this review, we're going to get to the point of it here of his a couple more points on the cocaine involved in making Days of Thunder. And then NASCAR street race tickets for next week, Grant Park. You'll get July 5th, July 6th, 2 weekend grounds passes for the NASCAR street race, sponsored by Bet365 and from Brian and Kenzie on Q101. So that's just a couple seconds away. First, some texts have come in. Kenzie, what do you got on the text line?
So 773 texted in and said, my dumbass was thinking you were talking about Tropic Thunder and couldn't believe you hadn't mentioned Robert Downey Jr. yet. And I could totally see that because Tom Cruise is also in Tropic Thunder.
An amazing performance, unusual by Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder.
Oh, fantastic. One of his best.
Oh, my gosh.
Haven't seen it. We'll get to it at some point.
Very good movie.
Also, first-time texter jumped in at 727. He says, Russ Wheeler in Days of Thunder is Jonas, son of a bitch.
Jonas, son of a bitch.
It's true. All these. Now that you've seen so many movies in the last year and a half, they're all connecting.
I recognize actors now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that guy was in another thing.
And then you can appreciate them more because they're different in different movies.
It's funny that you mention Russ Wheeler because he ends up being the big villain in this movie. He's Iceman, but in a car. That is the one thing where it's like, all right, this really is Top Gun with cars. He's got the same flat top, blonde hair. It's the whole thing. But what I learned while researching this movie was the character of Rowdy Burns, which is Michael Rooker's character, was originally offered to Dale Earnhardt Sr.
No way.
And he turned it down because he didn't want to play the bad guy in the movie. Now, if you've seen Days of Thunder, you go, well, you know, Rowdy starts off as the bad guy, but he doesn't end the movie that way. That's because when they started shooting Days of Thunder, there was no finalized script. A lot of this movie was written on the days that they were shooting those scenes. There were times...
Hold on, that's insane.
Yes.
Just slow down there.
Yes.
They were making up the scenes as they were going along for a major motion picture.
How do you pitch that? So, like, listen.
Well, okay, so it was produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, and this was the start of a huge deal they had with the studio, with Paramount specifically. And this movie was such a huge financial disaster. There were so many setbacks. There were so many issues on set that this long-term, big-budget contract they had signed with the studio was terminated after this movie. Both parties agreed that it was a bad relationship and they couldn't work with each other anymore, and it's all because of the debauchery that happened on the Days of Thunder set.
Meaning a lot of cocaine.
A lot of cocaine. The barn that plays a central theme in this movie, Robert Duvall's barn, where he's, you know, on the tractor and building cars, they built 3 different barns because the producers looked at the first one and said, not what we have in mind. Second one goes up, not what we had in mind. Third one goes up. They go, you know what? We liked the first one more. Can you guys build that again?
You know, I picture more going like,
Wow, the big barn money, eh?
well, I picture it going, you know, that was no good. Okay. Oh, wait, that barn's the best.
Imagine the trees around there being like, oh my God, they're going to kill us. Like watching their brothers and sisters fall and they still don't like the barn. Oh my God.
That is unbelievable.
Because of all the script changes, Tom Cruise actually had to read his lines off of cue cards attached to his windshield while he was doing some of the driving scenes. Unfortunately,
that sounds super safe.
So, Kenzie, funny you say that. Unfortunately, there were cue cards on his windshield, and it led to him crashing a car at one point. So what they had to do was feed him lines in an earpiece while he was driving because he didn't have time to memorize his lines because the script kept on changing so much. The kicker in all of this, I will give a spoiler here, but it's Days of Thunder. I think from the first 5 seconds you could figure out this would be the end of the movie.
Oh, boy.
The end of the movie is
What
Tom...
did he do, win a race?
So he wins the Daytona 500. It was not until they began the editing process. So movie shot, everybody's gone home. Cast is doing other things. Crew is doing other things. Producers are off doing cocaine somewhere.
You know Tom Cruise is busy. You know he's got another.
Busy.
Think about it. He's booked. He's booked. Okay.
It is not until they were in the editing process that they realized that they had not captured any footage of Tom Cruise crossing the finish line and winning the Daytona 500.
How do you not have that?
That's the whole point of the movie.
Imagine these guys are done filming. They're sitting back with their cocaine and maybe some cigars and some champagne.
Yes.
Guys, we're done. We got a masterpiece.
Days of Thunder.
Why don't we go in and just check out the final footage? And then the movie ends before he wins the race. Oh,
That's a cliffhanger.
Oh, call everybody back. We got to do it again. We're going to do it live.
Wait, so what'd they do?
Kids, they had to call everybody back.
You are lying.
Fake a NASCAR race. They had to fake a NASCAR race so they could get Tom Cruise winning the Daytona 500.
God.
How do you miss that?
That doesn't even get into the Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise stuff, which I know they were married. I literally know nothing about that relationship. Now's not the time to get into that. I do like that whenever they make out of this movie, it looks like Dikembe Mutombo guarding Spud Webb, but Nicole Kidman is Dikembe Mutombo. She's so much bigger than Tom Cruise. It's such a funny thing to look at. There's, of course, the awkward sex scene where Tom Cruise starts playing with sweet and low packets on her knee and explaining to her what drafting is in NASCAR with these little sugar packets. That's completely bizarre.
You may want to try that move.
I don't know why you're acting like that's not exactly how you hit on women. But like with bands.
Yeah,
we
with
started
bands.
Off, we started off in a garage.
If you run out of ideas this weekend, nice summer night, new people, maybe you want a new relationship, try that with the sweet and low packets.
Oh, yeah.
Give it a shot.
The ladies love it.
Yeah.
Look, it's a movie that is definitely flawed. It's not a cinematic masterpiece in the same way that, say, a Pulp Fiction or a Shawshank Redemption or a Jaws is, but start to finish, man, I thought Days of Thunder was a blast. This is a movie that whenever it's on TNT or AMC from now on, I'm going to rewatch it over and over again.
All right, so let's get to your rating.
Wait, hold on. I have to read this text from Bosch. Days of Thunder, error in movie, since we're talking about that. Rowdy's wife calls Tom Cruise, whose character's name is Cole, Tom when they're walking by the lake at Rowdy's house.
Oh, no.
She calls him Tom in the movie.
Yeah, well, those guys were doing coke. They didn't
They're
know
like,
that.
no, imagine reshooting the ending, and then they see that, and they go, we can't call him back again,
Come on
man.
Yeah, I mean, by that point, they get done filming. I mean, the next movie Tom Cruise did after Days of Thunder was that kind of Irish movie, Far and Away, and then A Few Good Men after that.
God, he was busy. He was so busy.
Kenzie, you have no idea. Let's just even start with Top Gun. It was Top Gun, The Color of Money. You have to watch that movie sometime. Cocktail, Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, Days of Thunder. That was just leading up to Days. And then after that, he goes on, like I said, The Firm, A Few Good Men, Interview with the Vampire, where him and Brad Pitt met the first time.
Love that movie.
And then the first Mission Impossible movie, then Jerry Maguire, Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia.
Eyes Wide Shut's great.
I know, Kenzie, you love that movie.
It's insane. His run is insane.
There was a sex club in Tampa called Eyes Wide Shut, and I just wanted to see it so bad. I was like, but if I go in, now I'm participating, and I can't, but I just want to know what's going on.
Well, you could.
Windows.
You can do what you want. You're an adult.
I was like calling, like, can I get a tour at like noon? Like, I just gotta see. I gotta see.
All right, so what are you going to rank? How are you going to rank this movie?
I think out of Mellow Yellow sponsorships.
Sounds good.
Because I just love that Mellow Yellow car so much. And once I give this rating, we'll have tickets for the Chicago NASCAR street race, which will be great coming up next weekend. I've got to go 7 Mellow Yellow sponsorships out of 10.
All that and just 7.
Well, did we not talk about the flaws in this movie?
Yeah.
It's inherently a flawed movie. I'm not saying that this needs to go on the level of Casablanca, but when Days of Thunder's on, I'm turning it on. I love this. Better than Top Gun.
Well, okay.
And let's just say 630. We have no footage of Tom Cruise crossing the finish line. Son of a bitch.
Jonas, son of a bitch.
312-591-8300. Call right now. NASCAR street race. Yes, next weekend. And we're a big part of it. Saturday, July 5th, Sunday, July 6th. The winner will get 2 weekend grounds passes to the NASCAR street race, sponsored by our great friends, Bet365. You call right now, 312-591-8300, and you have these tickets and experience racing. Robin's Racing. Brian and Kenzie.
Racing.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.